Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Above the Sky Season 4, Episode 8. My name is Leon Sky. I have a very, very special guest with me today. She is she is a singer. She is a songwriter. Straightforward, she's a roundabout artist. She takes her work very seriously and her craft very seriously. And when I saw her for the first time performing at an open mic in the Bronx, her voice is very soothing, I would like to say, very soothing. And she gives her all mainly. And when it comes to like giving your all, when it comes to the stage presence, and when it comes to the music, and just to see that and witness that, it inspires like just a person that's watching it. And that's what kind of like did for me when I saw her perform. So I just wanted to have her in this podcast to show out her craft, show out her work, and just to have you guys to support it and just to show love. Because, I believe with this process and with this podcast, I want to be able just to show as much love for the people that come upon the show and just show support. That's basically the whole thing of it. But with that being said, I'm going to have her introduce herself, and then I'm going to ask her 10 questions. And then that was pretty much it. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then we get started.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Amani, but my stage name is JAMESE. JAMESE is my middle name. It's derived from my step grandpa. His name was James, and I decided to make him my stage name because he was a golden figure on my dad's side. He's the person that raised my dad, and my dad's a big influence for me when it comes to music as well. So I give my credit to my grandpa, Grandpa James. So that's who I am, JAMESE. I like to write R&B, alternative music, and I get most of my inspiration from someone named Alex Isley. I don't know if you guys heard of her, but she's like my everything. Like I listen to her day and night. So I try to incorporate her into my music and into my craft as much as possible, all while trying to stay, original as well. But I feel like her sound needs to be heard. I feel like her songs and her music and the way that she crafts her songs, I feel like more people need to be open to. I feel like music as well is just a frequency. It's a bunch of frequencies, and you got to just ride the right frequencies to live a certain way, you feel me? So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
This is my first podcast, so so far it's super chill. I'm liking it. So thank you for everything.
No, thank you just for being a part of it, and thank you for having me be the first one to welcome you in like this kind of like experience and this vibe. So I appreciate it at my end as well. So question number 1, how did you get into making music?
So I believe the origins of my music making came from just growing up and hearing music on the radio, seeing my dad work in his studio because he used to work for a label, and he would produce. I'm not sure, I don't remember who he said he produced for. I have to ask him someday, but he worked for a big label in Miami, and he would bring me to his studio. And he had I remember he had a piano, he had a couple guitars, he had like the whole setup. And I know he had no toys in that studio. So he'd just be like, just go play with the piano, go play with the guitar. So when I did that, I feel like that was what started everything, was me just playing around on his piano. He also grew in the church, so he and the rest of my family on that side just grew up like singing and being in the choir and everything. So I think that's where it derived from, like genetically, or it was just passed down to me. But I didn't start taking music seriously until like the end of high school, because I never really had the resources to actually digitalize my music or anything, or even like consider recording it or any of that. So I had a friend that would help me make music, like in his little home studio, his brother's home studio. So I would go there, and that's where I recorded my first song, Twisted Fantasies. And yeah, that's where
Awesome.
it came from.
That's cool. That's cool. So like basically, it was always kind of like sort of like around you growing up, basically like those
Yeah,
like well like your father was he worked at a like record label you said basically. Um
yeah,
how was that like being just like around that environment like growing up? Because I know like you were like, like the inspirations were there. So how was it like just being
yeah.
around that, like, growing up in that process?
Honestly, it's like I don't even think I'm glad that I was around that because a lot of people nowadays, I try to tell them like I'm like, oh, remember this song? They're like, no, I remember that song, and I'm like, wow, I'm blessed to have at least been around this like
Yeah.
growing up. Like there were certain radio stations down because I grew up in Florida, and we had certain radio stations down there where they played like Southern hip hop, Southern like specific Southern like music that
Hmm.
I feel like influenced me a little bit. I always I would listen to the radio in my mom's car, and a lot of the time she kind of just didn't want any bothering, like she didn't want to be bothered by me and my siblings.
Yeah.
So she just be like, listen to the radio, just chill out, look out the window. And that's where I got my love for music, was being able to listen to it and look at the scenery outside and really appreciate how beautiful like music could be, how it could channel into uh like everyday life and what it could do as far as like narrating, the way that you move throughout your life. Um,
Mm.
so like I said, like my earliest memory was with like in the car, like listening to music. So yeah.
Got you, got you. Now that's pretty cool. I like
I
that
would
a
hear a
lot.
lot of like Usher, for example. Usher, I had a lot of like, yeah. I had some CDs, I had some Usher CDs that I would play like all day. My mom got so sick of it, but even to this day, like I love Usher, like so
No,
stuff like
Usher's the
that.
dude. Usher's the dude for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just saw his it's kind of everywhere now, which is pretty cool. His like Tiny Desk. I don't know if you watch Tiny Desk.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I just saw his Tiny Desk,
yeah,
and like he's dope. He's very he's I don't want to say he's underrated. I don't want to say that, but like he's like in between, I guess, like
right,
rated. Um, because like like
right,
people know his
right,
music, but like I think when it comes to his music, like it's not as much appreciated as it is now. So it's just like he's definitely up
right,
there for sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's I feel like older Usher isn't as appreciated. Like his older albums are not as played anymore. Maybe like the mainstream songs, but the albums in their entirety are actually
Yeah.
very good. Like there's a song called Confessions Part 1 and 2. There's two songs, and I know they only played part 2, but I'm like, part 1 is just as good. Like you got to listen to both of them because they go hand in hand, you feel me? Like so
Mm.
it's just that appreciation for certain things that that help me to make stuff too. Is like taking elements from even the songs that are underappreciated, or even like things that you know aren't really seen as desirable in like pop culture or whatever, like the
Yeah.
mainstream. So
Yeah. No, that's very
yeah.
real. That's very real. So question number two. So how would you describe your sound and your music in your own words, basically?
So my sound, I would say, is tranquil. I feel like
Mm.
it sounds one way, but the meaning behind the words can mean anything else, like complete opposite. I feel like the lyrics that I make aren't really like tranquil, but the sound I give off is tranquil.
Yeah.
um I try to write about things like things that I deal with, like very raw stuff that I've dealt with, like life experience wise. um the pandemic, or recently wrote about like unfaithfulness, like, and stuff like that. So I'm trying to branch off into more positive things,
Yeah.
but I feel like once I do that, it might mess with the sound. So I'm trying to make sure like I really look like um make it sound the way I want it to sound. Definitely tranquil, relaxed, and I like to play with the mixing and make it like go from ear to ear to really get
Mm,
that like full submersion feel, like you're in water or something. Like I like that sound, so I try to do that.
that's cool.
Um, yeah,
No, I like that a lot. No, I like it. That's especially perfect when it comes to like listening to the earphones and whatnot. Um,
yeah,
Especially in the car as well. Like when it comes to, because you get like kind of like you said, like it sounds like water, and it just sounds like it's coming out from one ear out the other, you know. Um,
yeah,
but I like that like you use that word tranquil with your music, because I think that's a perfect way to describe your sound basically and what you're trying to go for when it comes to like your sound of music basically. Um, and also like I like that you said like you try to like focus on like try to bring out the positive side, but you also want to focus on what you have now currently. Like when it comes to like I don't want to say
hmm,
like the because the only word I could think of next to positive is negative, but it's like it's not negative at all. It's just how you feel during that moment of time. And when you feel during that
yeah,
moment of time, you
yeah,
basically put it into your music. So basically it's just talking about life in general, you know? Because sometimes even when it
right,
comes to like the certain things that happens like around us, we need to like exhale like all those stuff like out of you basically and just and put it out in your music,
right,
put it out in the music basically, so that that energy
right.
can be released basically, so I like that.
Exactly, exactly. And I feel like that's what music is too. It's just an energy transfer.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like not everyone picks up on the same like way, like it depends on how you look at the song or the music. Like everyone interprets it differently. So you have to tune into whichever, frequency it's putting out. I feel like songs can put out multiple frequencies, not just one. So
Mm-hmm.
it just depends on how you, look at it and how you hear it for yourself and how it plays into your life. And,
No,
yeah.
yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah. Because it's basically how you like just like you said, just receive it when you hear it, basically. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because even though it's not like full out like positive, it can turn out positive when you can relate to it, basically, for the people that
Right,
are listening. So and I
right.
grab upon more of those type of music than like I guess like I'm not saying happy music is bad or whatever, but I think like when it comes to like music like that, like it grabs me the most only just because like I can understand it a little bit more. So and it speaks to me more basically. So yeah, I could definitely
Right,
I
right.
enjoy like when you receive like those type of like kind of energies because it can change your energy from one
Hmm.
way to another basically.
Exactly. And I feel like the reason why I go for that is because a lot of people nowadays feel like they have no one to talk to, or they're just alone or don't have anything else to do. So I feel like with music, it's like that's another person speaking to you, or
Hmm.
that's a manifest, like the music you listen to is manifestation. So it's like if it's not somebody telling you that it's an artist that doesn't even know you, but is
Right.
trying to make a difference in your life type thing. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no,
I like
no,
that.
that's definitely true. So question number three. So what do you enjoy most about being an artist basically?
So I'd probably have to say that the progress that I've seen myself uh, in over the years is the most enjoyable part about being an artist. Seeing the fact that like I started somewhere and I didn't think I was that good,
Yeah.
but now I'm where I pictured myself to be. That's always really fun to look at. What else? Let's see. Um, Definitely the progress, the feedback that I get from the music that I put out, or even the covers that I put out, or just
Mm.
like the criticism as well. Like all that is good to see in turn because I'm getting some information on what people like, and even though I should be catering to myself and my own desire for my music, I
Yeah.
also make sure that people are resonating with what I put out as well.
No, of course.
Yeah, I think I wanted to also touch base on the fact that like growing up, like there were certain things that I would imagine that I couldn't really like put on paper or write down, but now I have that ability to. I've crafted like my own sense of expression through writing and even the way that I paint and draw now. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm more able to express that in a less verbal sense and more of like an artistic sense.
I like that. I like that. No, when it comes to like basically trying to receive like basically just seeing the progress when it comes to your own sound, your own music from like starting from like point A to point like basically Z.
Right,
Um and just to see like where like it's basically developing. Because at first like you don't know where it's gonna really go to, because sometimes like you just start off writing, you start off listening to some type of sound or just feed inspiration from a source around you just to like get those words to express out of you basically, and you don't know
right,
where it's going to take you. It can take you to just one place, to like that point A to point B, like immediately, or sometimes it takes the time, and you don't know like how where it's going to turn out. And then once it gets to that certain destination point, and then once you like put it out basically to the people around you and your surroundings and your environment, the feedback, you don't know like how you're gonna like receive it basically. So it's just
right,
like once you receive that like type of feedback, if it's good or bad, um it's still like it motivates you just to keep going basically, you know
right,
and like it could take you to like basically in a place where you just never thought you would just vision yourself being, within the music that you create, you know so it just basically the progress, like I feel like it helps you become a better artist, so I could definitely understand that for sure. Question number 4: so who and what are your inspirations that develop the way your music sounds today? And I know you said one of your inspirations is Usher. um
mm.
and I know, and for this question specifically, um it doesn't have to be like any type of artist basically, but like what like ever kind of like inspires you, like that's around you, like if it's anything in general, like what inspires you to create the music that you make today?
So aside from any artists, I would definitely say nature inspires me. I think that children also inspire me in a way, in the way that they think.
Mm,
I can definitely say that my mind has like aged a lot since I was younger, but I feel like I had way less of a filter growing up and way less restriction. And I feel like I can learn from that, like my younger self,
yeah.
because when it comes to putting myself out there now, it's like I kind of had to inherit the qualities that I had before, and I
Mm,
don't really have them anymore. So I have to go back in time. And luckily, I do have a niece that she's like a spitting image of me, and she's just like me as a kid. So it's like I'm learning a lot from her, how to express myself, how to talk to people, how to just be happy, how to
mm,
just, always put out positive, even if you're receiving negative from people. Um, stuff like that. Like I have a lot to learn from her. So, it's good that I can look into like the things around me for that inspiration.
yeah.
I would definitely say, as far as an artist, I would say Alex Isley. She's actually the daughter of one of the Isley brothers. I don't know if you've heard of the Isley brothers, but she also has music in her family, so she came from that, and she was able to turn her learnings into something beautiful.
Mm,
So, she's very like tranquil in her sound as well. Her voice is very soft, and the lyrics that she makes are very like, it depends on the song. She has a lot of different songs. It ranges from like very positive stuff to like things like I said with what I kind of write about is like unfaithfulness or like deception or even stuff like that. So
yeah.
she makes it sound so beautiful though, so it's like something you could like, it's almost like lo-fi. Like she sounds like lo-fi. Like lo-fi itself is just so soothing, and the way that she projects her music and the way that she does her stuff is very much of a lo-fi feel to it.
Mm,
She incorporates like jazz into her stuff, like heavy bass stuff, and I just feel it on a different, like way different than most other artists I listen to, and I listen to a lot of different people, but I
yeah.
feel like her in specific, like all her songs just do it for me, like everything, everything does it for me. So yeah, if you can check her out, like she's really good.
Nah,
She's really
definitely.
nice.
I definitely gotta check her out for sure. She's definitely got to be on my list for sure. There's a whole group of artists that I have to listen to now, and she's definitely have to be the next one for sure.
Yeah.
I like that you brought up nature. Nature is definitely the goal place where I go to as well when it comes to like trying to just kind of like not even just receive inspiration, but just like sometimes even like escape kind of a little bit.
Mm.
Um, just to like, just to be in that surroundings, really just to like go on the trail, like, go on the trail with like waterfalls basically. And just to get just to like being around in that like kind of environment, kind of like it helps just to like it helps you like it helps you in a certain extent where it's just like whenever you feel kind of like I don't want to say down, but because even if you feel happy, that's a good place to go. But just whenever you feel like you need to get away, nature is kind of like one of those places to like go to. I feel like, at least in my point of view, just to escape basically.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and when it comes to like receiving inspiration from certain surroundings, is it's an amazing thing sometimes when I see because it's just like you don't know, like there's so much to get inspired by. Basically, there's so much,
Mhm.
that's around just to feed off of, and sometimes when the inspiration is like not there, like immediately, because maybe sometimes you need to like listen to something new, within your playlist, or maybe sometimes you need to go somewhere that's a little bit different than you usually go to, in the day-to-day basis. So sometimes you need to get out your own like little box basically or comfort zone or however you want to say it, just to like maybe find that new environment just to get that inspiration just to create something new for yourself. Or maybe you need to listen to like a different type of genre within music or some sort just to feed off a different type of sound within your own kind of ears so you can, hear a different version of music basically, you know.
Right.
So that's why I really like to ask that question because like everybody has not only a different answer to that question, but like everybody has different type of sources of inspiration to receive to develop the way their music sound basically. So
Right.
question number 5. Now this one's another specific type of question as well. And you don't have to be too specific. But in your way you can try to like spice it up a bit. So question number 5. So like what's your creative process like when it comes to like making a song in general in your own way?
Well, on my organized days, I'll I'll look up like a lo-fi beat or something, or some type of
Yeah.
like type beat, because especially if I feel like I can't make something myself, and I feel like, oh, I'm gonna have writer's block, I'll go straight to a lo-fi beat because it relaxes me, it helps me to ease my brain, and from there I can just like spit out whatever's been on my mind all day. I'll choose a topic, or I'll even like I'll write about something that I see in my room and just like try to go from there just to improve my writing.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I've only made like two good songs that have like an organized like structure from like how I went about making it. Like, but the songs that I get the most feedback on and the best like results from are the ones that are super random and like out of nowhere.
Mm,
um, so like I'll place myself somewhere, like I'll say something happens, like some crazy life event, like I'll graduate or something,
yeah.
and I get to a point where I'm like overthinking, oh, like what's gonna happen next, what's my future like, whatever, like what's my career path now. I'll just place myself somewhere, so I'll go to the park, or um, even just in my room, and I'll just start writing like whatever's on my mind, and then I'll organize it later. Um, and there's also a process I do where I just rhyme at the end of everything. So like I'll take the last word from every line and make sure that it rhymes, so I can at least have some type of like rhythm to what I'm saying.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
most times that actually works very well, and I keep the writing. So there's actually one song where I go, I'm annoying, but I got good intentions. Still a kid at heart, a Gemini, forgot to mention. My
Mm,
writing kind of trash, but I'm taking interventions to improve. Got a lot to lose. So I'm just like writing off of whatever's in my head, but I'm making sure it rhymes at the end. So at least it has some type of like,
mm.
like something to take from it. Like, okay, it sounds the same. So I don't know. It's really random sometimes, but when it's organized, I just, it's the lo-fi beats and the chill environment. Um, Yeah.
Got you. Okay. So like basically it changes up like quite a bit basically.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like having it in an organized way, and then sometimes it changes up to where you just kind of like think like what like I mean you kind of write down what's in your head basically, like right at the
Hmm.
spot.
Yeah.
Which is like you said, like sometimes with when it comes to like those type of music, when it's not organized, you get like the most like good feedback coming your way,
Right. Right.
when it's like sometimes just like whatever's in your head immediately, you know and and when it comes to like doing it, that because sometimes like even when I try to like do it like organize, or it's always like it turns to like organized to like disorganized for some very weird reason. I don't know why, it just does. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I just need to like either like step away a bit just to
Hmm.
like kind of like relax, or not even just relax, just to like really just to just stay away from it just for a little bit, just to like get some type of like, not I don't want to keep using the word inspiration, but just get something like like around me just to motivate me to get back to like writing
Hmm.
basically. And sometimes writing as much as you can, whatever that's in your head, helps out as well, because we got a lot of thoughts coming in our head on a daily. So sometimes you just need to like flush away those thoughts. Sometimes just by writing over and over again, and it could be just anything really. It could just be like you said, like it can just be like your surroundings, like in your room, or it can just be like out, like something that you just saw outside or whatever. Like whatever is in your head, basically just flush it out. So it just won't be like stored up in your head, and you can just have like those like everything that you wrote down will be in just one specific place, like use for future songs or just songs that you're currently working on at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, and it just helps out. It just helps out very well. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. See, like for like, I think that there's like a certain balance that you have to find when it comes to writing songs, because
Yeah.
while there's one end when you're like, oh, like I have to write something, it's been forever, like I'm kind of losing the passion. It's also necessary to take time and like actually take your time with your craft, because if you rush it, it's not going to be what you want.
Yeah.
And I mean, aside from the fact that like I've written very fast at some points, I think it was all built up, you feel me? Like to force yourself to kind of just rush, it's not gonna work. So you have to find that balance and figure out what's gonna work for you. It's different for everybody. But and finding the balance is actually very hard too, because you really have to like weigh both sides. Like you have to do both, but in different capacities. So
Yeah.
you just got to figure it out. And once you figure it out, I mean, then it works well for you. I haven't really found a consistent way to write music yet. So
Yeah.
you see how it's like random or organized. Like I have both, but once I really get in tune with it, then I'll be straight. I'll be able to write consistently. So I'm still finding that.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that for sure. Because when it comes to like you said, like when it comes to like finding the balance between the two, and when trying to find like to like really just understand like it doesn't you don't always have to like put so much pressure within your writing and just always try to like force it out, because just like sometimes as artists, and like I do this in my own end as well, like sometimes we put like a due date at certain things, you
Mm-hmm.
know and in reality it's not even like a real due date. It's just a due date that we kind of put like place within our own head. So like, okay, I want to have this like certain song out before this day, yada yada yada, or before this month, like, or like year or whatever, however you do it basically. um and then sometimes that gets like kind of like stuck in our heads so much where it's just like we think about that so much to the point where we're distracted and we don't even write. So we just always focus on the due date, and we're focused on like the destination and the end of the journey instead of the progress and the process basically. And sometimes we
Right.
just focus on just towards the like the end of solution instead of the solution that you have like currently in front of you that you need to solve basically. um so it's just like enforcing yourself is not always kind of, because like it's okay to like write constantly every day, just to like just to feed your thoughts out of your mind basically.
Right.
But like if when it comes to forcing it, sometimes you don't like you say things that you don't even want to say, or sometimes you're just not really just staying true just to like being the artist that you want to be, to a certain extent,
Right.
you know. So like just being patient and just like and like if the inspiration is not there, maybe you just need to take a break from it. Maybe you just need to get away. Maybe you just need to lay down a journal or just like because I believe in self-care very heavily, and I believe in like you need to take like if you feel like you're drained out, take care of your mental, take care of yourself, take care of like
Mhm.
before anything else, because like being an artist like is obviously like sometimes like you gotta like nowadays you gotta be on top of everything when it comes to like being an artist. You gotta be on top of the social media. You gotta be on top of the creativity. You gotta be on top of kind of just low key everything in general when it comes to that kind of like creative aspect. But
Mhm.
sometimes when it comes to like certain artists, if you see something like not changing within like your own mental state, that's when you need to like kind of like stay away from it so you can take
Mhm.
care of you basically. So
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And like the criticism that you give yourself is always the hardest
Yeah.
criticism to get. So you have to make sure that you take care of you and realize that you're doing this. And of course, there's not going to be a rule book or a guide for how you're going to write your songs because you're your own person and everyone has their unique, sound and processes and stuff. So you got to realize like you are your own, like you're discovering things for yourself. Like you're
Yeah.
your own, you're studying yourself. So you
Mm.
have to be able to understand that no one else knows you but you. So you gotta do trial and error sometimes too. It's like you gotta experiment and see what works for you. And once you have that, like once it's all figured out, and even if it's not all figured out, like as long as you make that progress, like it'll work really well for you as far as like creation and just being an artist as a whole.
That actually leads up perfectly to our next question. So question number 6. I know we have talked about it like a little bit and kind of like also a little bit with the past question that we just talked that you just answered basically. So question number 6. How do you deal with writer's block when it appears in your journey of trying to write a song basically in your own words?
So basically just get away. Just take yourself from one environment and put yourself in the next environment. Even if it doesn't even have to be physical. It could be mentally placing yourself somewhere else or emotionally placing yourself in somewhere else. So if you want to write about something in particular, you would remember how you felt at that particular moment and
Yeah.
place yourself somewhere emotionally. So sometimes you just gotta move. Like you gotta like relocate in different aspects. And that goes into just trying different things to get your result, to get what you want. Uh, I'd say a mixture of that and just taking care of yourself, making sure you have the energy to think, like making sure you ingested enough like water, everything. Like even if it's too hot in your room and you're just like aggravated and you don't even realize if you just put on, open the window or go outside, like it might change
Yeah.
everything. So you gotta try everything sometimes. And that's if you really want it. So if you lack the motivation, you gotta get the motivation to try different things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. No, yeah, 100%. Definitely. Um because there's just so much around that's like in this earth basically that we haven't really witnessed basically. So
Mhm.
there's always something that's always going to gravitate us to really to write about really, sometimes where there's two things like you like get away or sometimes you need to just take a break, you know? And sometimes getting away, I feel like is probably the best one. Um, Sometimes it depends on who you are because every human being is different. But like it always worked out when it comes to like myself. When trying just to escape from one certain environment to like another certain environment, just to feed off a different type of like just source of energy really because like sometimes if the certain energy around you is like consistent and if it doesn't change you got to find something that will change around you so you can write something different so you can like create a different type of sound so you can basically just feed off a different type of feel within your own music. And it also, and with that kind of even helps out when it comes to self-care as well. Because sometimes even when it comes to self-care, sometimes you get kind of like, I don't want to use the word depressed, but sometimes you get your moods start to feel a little bit different when you're staying in the same certain place every single day, and nothing isn't changing, so sometimes getting away helps, taking a vacation, helps. Sometimes you need to go like out of the state or whatever, or out of the country or whatever, just to like, so whatever inspiration or whatever energy that you get from that place, you can bring it back and then use that, and then you'll feed off that motivation into your music, into your craft, into your work, and then it just speaks from itself and from there, so like writer's block is a very cool thing, because it's, and the reason why I say it's a cool thing, because it's just like it's you're learning something new within yourself, I feel like.
Right.
And sometimes a good amount of people try to avoid it by writing a lot, and sometimes writing too much can burn you out to a certain extent. But like sometimes when you do something for yourself just to like, gather whatever type of like, whatever that you like, whenever kind of like source of energy or whatever inspiration that you need in order to bring it back within your writing, you just make it like just a whole like plain new story within your music itself, so. But yeah, that's what I like to ask that question a lot, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I like that you talked about the traveling, going out and seeing different things outside of the world to get that inspiration for sure. Because I can actually relate that to the beaches. Like the beaches here compared to like anywhere else, like say the Caribbean, for example, they're like
Yeah.
two different things. The beach is beautiful in general, but I feel like the feel that I get from the water in the Caribbean is so much different from the water that I experience here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just completely different. And it's like even that would inspire me to write differently, because just the feel of it, being able to like describe that feel and then put it into a song, I would have never been able to experience that had I been here, like
Yeah.
it's, stuff like that, like even the trees or the animals that you see or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I have to say too is like, um, if I have writer's block, I'd also either read a book, like read something, like an article, just to look for different words, new words. I'll look up words and see if, what they mean, or, how I could use
Mm.
them. Or I'd look up like different literature devices, like metaphors or similes, onomatopoeia, stuff like that. Like using
Mm.
different devices in your songs can help them to be more of like a, more of a creative writing process rather than like just a word dump, so
Mm.
uh, looking into that and studying that and understanding them can help you to actually do that. Even writing poems, like if you write a poem, you could easily turn a poem into a song.
Yeah.
So stuff
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Is there like a certain book that like kind of like gravitates you the most, or like is it like there's plenty of books in general? Like I is there like, yeah, is there a certain type of book basically? You feel like?
No specific type of book. I really haven't found specific books that I like yet, but I'll just
Yeah.
read on whatever looks interesting to me. So right now I
Yeah.
have a book on like breath work. I have a book on breath work, and the words that they use inside that book is just like, I have never heard of these words, but they sound so
Yeah.
like they sound so nice, like eloquent, So I would, just looking for new words, looking for different ways to say certain things, that can help a lot too.
Mm.
I'm still trying to find, my center with that too, is because you can't really use everything that you see, but you have to use what resonates with you, and then take that and put it into your own words and then apply it to your songs.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm still trying to find that as well. It's a work in progress, but I know that for sure that it works for sure, because I've done it at least twice in two different songs. So yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Yeah, just like it's so cool because just like there's always something that's gonna like I said before, help us to get back into that, right mindset, just to create another song or just to create another like whatever really, because it doesn't even just have to be just music in general. It could just be something as just like as a creator in general. Because I like even like sometimes like for our like a painter, sometimes they have like painter's block or whatever. Like sometimes they
Yeah.
don't even know what's like the next thing they want to paint. So it's just like even when it comes to like an author, sometimes they're like they don't know the next story they want to tell. When it comes
Right.
to a movie, they don't know like the next type of like story they want to pull, like they don't know how to direct it, then a certain kind of way or next story to like kind of create. So they gotta like do something, do whatever, just
Right.
to like get back into that. And I always see it as where it's like it's a love and hate relationship sometimes when it comes to like music, because sometimes it's just like you get kind of like when you done it like kind of so long to a certain extent, you get kind of like I don't want to use the word tired of it, but like you get drained from it basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like you just need to like just take it to get away from it, and it's tough because just like it's you love doing it, like it's your music. This is like every like to a certain extent, like depends on like how you gravitate towards it, but like it's everything to you. So it's just like it's difficult, but at the same time it will be better, because you'll come back stronger, not like physically but like mainly mentally.
Right.
um and I think that's more important, and then your stories will become a better story to tell, and your writing will be just like I like that you brought out the words like the vocabulary as well, because like it's always cool when you see these certain words and you don't even know like these words kind of like exist or whatever, but like
Mhm.
once you understand it, like once you like look up that word or whatever, like however you like, try to figure out what that word means. Now you could use that within your own writing, within your own music, and then people will be like, "Yo, like what does what like this like does this word even exist?" And then you just like you surprise them to a certain extent. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. It's really
Right.
cool.
Right. Right. It's all
Perfect.
very, very like knowledgeable. Once you learn something and then put it into your craft and teach somebody else, that's like the best thing. Knowledge is power. So
Yeah.
knowledgeable as you can, and I feel like when it comes to like making music, you gotta realize that you're making the music and it's not making you. Like realize your
Mm,
potential and stay humble about it, but know that you are capable and you are very much worthy of being able to have a say in your music and have a say so in general by putting out music. Like, like you
mm.
have that potential. Don't ever doubt that you don't have the potential, because you know you do. It's just that you doubt yourself when times get, a little challenging. But
Yeah.
you just got to make sure, yeah, like the music doesn't make you, that you make the music, so.
Well, that's a quote for sure.
Right.
That's an Instagram quote right there. That's I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, No, 100, yeah, for sure. Because just like when it comes to just the journey of making, of just being an artist in general, like there's always gonna be those times where like you want to just 100%ly like give up or quit sometimes, and because like it's not, and I think like the reason why sometimes like not, I mean like the reason why like those doubts always comes because like the support either is like kind of lacking from your surroundings, or you see like hardly not like as much progress happening whenever you release a song or whatever,
Right.
or I mean there's many different type of reasons, and I always try to see those like certain like reasons or whatever for me to quit as like reasons to like keep going, you know,
Right.
and reasons to like not like stop, because at the end of the day we don't know where this is going to really take us. And it's
Right.
just like even though it's not like the goal is to be rich or the goal is to be famous or the goal is like have my music discovered by a whole group of people. It's really just about just being happy within your work and just doing it for basically just not even just for a living, but just doing it consistently over and over again,
Right.
and just being 100% real yourself with it.
Mhm.
And sometimes it gets tough. It's a lonely road, sometimes, and it's sometimes it always it encourages you to a certain extent because it like you don't see a lot of people around you doing the same things that we're doing. So
Right.
like it makes you kind of like not even different within your own music. It makes you different as a human being, low key in general.
Yeah.
Because everybody has like a certain type of process when it comes to like just being just like so, quote unquote happy in general. And when it comes to like being happy and kind of being like certainly like basically successful, people try to avoid to like chase their dreams because they think when it comes to being successful and being happy is to have a whole bunch of money, and just to have, just that like, just a like American lifestyle basically, where it's just like, okay, I have a home, I have a family, I have this and that's cool and all. But it's just like, is that really what you wanted to do? Is this like because you got like this whole dream right here that you kind of like set away just
Mm-hmm.
because just because like I don't want to use the word afraid, but you just didn't want to take these certain risks or
Mm-hmm.
whatever because you didn't know like where it was gonna reach or whatever. But that's all right, because like it's all about like what you manifest out here, and it's all about how you throw out you because like and I've seen it in personally in my own life, where it's just like whatever good energy you throw out into the universe is gonna always receive back, even though if it's not like immediately, it's always gonna receive back always at the right time that you need it, basically.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. That was all like completely true. Like
yeah,
the fact that like even when it comes to like manifestation, right?
yeah,
There's a lot of people that don't believe in it. And it's like you don't believe in it, but you don't realize that you manifest every single day. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
manifest when you wake up, you're manifesting. Like you literally told yourself, well, your body at least manifested and it said, well, I'm gonna wake up today. And it did that. So I mean, it's just like you gotta believe in that. You gotta believe in the fact that not everything that can be used as a tool to be better, not everything is like a physical tool. It's all up here too. It's all in your head.
yeah,
And you got to make sure that whatever's up there is actually working. You got to make sure that um, you have enough, I guess, depth to and understanding to certain things to make sure that like, okay, like life is too short. I need to like actually put care into like my dreams. Like I have to, if you give yourself to corporate America or like, just like those big jobs that pay all this money, you're not going to be happy. Like you got to
yeah,
find what you like to do
yeah,
and enjoy it and do it. And of course, make your money because we have to make money to sustain ourselves, but also make sure that you're enjoying yourself and you're not burning yourself out and
yeah.
you're enjoying life because life is very short and beautiful and we have to enjoy it while we are here. So
Yes.
I think that making music is definitely one of those things that helped me to appreciate the life that I have right now. Definitely, yeah.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah. Music is really, I mean, just creating the things that you want to do in general can really change your life, you know, and can really do something special within your own self. And if
Mm-hmm.
you enjoy it so much, just keep working at it, just keep going. And there's always light at the end of that tunnel. There's always, there's always something that's always gonna come positive. Even if you sometimes all you feel and all you see is kind of negative, you got to just try to find that light inside that dark, and eventually it
Mm-hmm.
will start to glow. So yeah,
Exactly, exactly. And don't give up that fight either. Just keep going. It's there. There's times where you feel like it's not there, and it's definitely there. You just gotta keep looking. Gotta keep
exactly,
looking and keep
exactly.
creating and keep just being the original you. Don't lose yourself in everyone else's opinions. You got to keep and sustain yourself no matter how outcasted you think you are. As long as you are respecting everybody as a human being, that's all that matters. Like you just be yourself. Like that's
Yeah.
it. So
Now this is dope. This is like a healing podcast. Literally, literally. If anybody needs healing, just watch this podcast. So question number 7. So I don't know if you're like very new to like being on stage. Like was being on stage like that previous time, was that your very, very first time or have you done it before?
So that was my first open mic
Okay.
in general. I used to be on stage all the time growing up as a kid though.
Okay.
Like we would have musicals or little recorder like symphonies, like little stuff like that, like little performances. So back then I wasn't as scared, and it's actually hilarious to think of it because like I said before, I desire to be like how I was when I was younger. I was way less filtered and I was just like out there.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm just so shook, like, shaken by everyone's like,
Yeah.
what are they thinking of me? All that other stuff.
Yeah.
So I was very nervous that first time, but I think all in all, like the crowd, everyone that was there helped me to feel comfort and not really think about it too hard.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use that and just change from here on. Like ever since that day, I've just been like, all right, gotta just be me. And I've been seeing a lot of results from that too. I've been seeing people like actually like come up and actually talk. I look more approachable apparently. So it's like people come up and talk to me and stuff like that. So
Sweet. Sweet. Okay, perfect. So I believe I can ask this question. So question number 7. So before you like, I know this was your first time performing, like as you said, an open mic, but like if your own perspective and your own visualization on how you want to approach it, like before you get on any type of stage to perform, do you do anything for yourself to get yourself in a good headspace or mind space to get yourself like kind of ready to perform?
I
Um,
did,
yeah.
yeah. I was mainly in the mirror just practicing.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was so good at home. It was so good at home. But when I got on stage, it was like, oh my God, the mirror's not there. What do I do?
yeah.
And I don't think that really registered to me when I was doing it in the mirror. I was like, oh, it's not like this mirror is here, but it's not going to be there when I'm on stage. So I got to, so I didn't think about that. But that's probably the only thing I actually did, and drink a lot of water.
Mm,
And that's about it. So, but definitely next time I need to do a lot better as far as like vocal warm-ups, projection, and just feeling like, a little bit less stiff and I definitely should have stretched. I feel like stretching and being, you know, having less tension in you would help.
yeah,
So I need to do that next time.
yeah.
But
Okay, okay. Yeah. Nah, yeah, I like to ask that question only just because I mean, I like to ask all these questions, like these all these questions, but like specifically this one, I feel like not only just because everyone has a different answer when it comes to like approaching it when before going on stage. It's always like there's always like a certain type of way they kind of like do it just to get themselves in a good mental state, basically.
mhm,
Because like sometimes those like I guess I can use the word anxiety to a certain extent. Sometimes that anxiety or it's like those certain fears kind of get in the way of like to kind of get in the way to performing. And sometimes like you just kind of like you just the nervousness like and it's kind of like
mhm,
it's a usual thing that kind of happens all the time before you get on stage to perform. And sometimes we either like try to like find like a routine to kind of go for it to kind of help like us kind of like soothe our mind a bit and to calm
mhm,
our mind to understand that like everything's gonna be okay. um but sometimes like we can just go straight to performing and that's okay too. um but sometimes like understanding where it's just like not overthinking things and to understand where it's like it like at the end of the day it's all gonna be good. um and sometimes where it's just like being yourself basically on stage. And that's basically like I felt like basically what you did. You were just kind of like, even though you were kind of a little bit nervous and a little bit kind of like, I don't want to use the word shy, but you were just a little nervous. You were just being yourself, you know towards the whole way.
mhm.
And that made it kind of like a soothing experience basically, for all of us. So yeah.
Thank you. I keep thinking to myself, dang, I look so nervous, but then you and like another girl that I met there, she was like, you didn't even look nervous, but you're fine. So I appreciate you guys telling me that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I feel like, yeah, looking back at it, I was definitely way too nervous. Like it was fine. Like you guys are so comforting, and I think it was mainly my breathing. My breathing was the only thing that was really messing me up because
Mm,
not only was it the anxiety that was playing into it, it was like me having to sing on top of that. It's like you
it's a
need to
lot.
breathe.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
lot, like having to like, find that breath control. But yeah.
Yeah. I think that leads perfectly to question number 8. So, question number 8. So, how does your sound of music separate you from like everybody else's sound of music, basically?
Mm, I would say as far as my sound, I don't really project, and I feel like that's a good and a bad thing. Um, when it comes to like singing in I think they call it the head voice or the chest. I think it's the chest voice. Um, I can't really channel that too well. So I sing mostly in my head voice, and I think that already separates me because I sing very softly.
Mm,
Now there's other artists that sing softly as well, but I think that what separates me is at least the instruments that I put in my songs. I try to experiment and put like a bunch of different instruments, and sometimes I like to almost make it sound like a symphony. So like with the one song "Twisted Fantasy,"
yeah.
um, that the progression in that song is just like amazing. Like I like when a song has progression, um, and it like kind of tells a story in itself. So if you were to hear the instrumental by itself, it just sounds like a story. And I think Usher actually inspired me with that as well with his song Moving Mountains. If you ever hear that song and like just listen to the instrumental and just like listen to the background, like if you just listen to it, it just sounds like it just gets more and more intense and then it dies down again, almost like a
Mm,
story, like a story, like how there's like I really forgot like everything they taught me in English. Like there was like a whole chart they used to have or it went like that. Yeah, that's what the song sounds like.
mm.
So,
I think I know. No, I don't. I thought it came in my mind, but I don't.
I think
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Like it's like it was like a little like a mountain kind of. That little mountain they would show us in English of the progression of a story, like the climax,
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know. Okay. Okay. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So a lot of songs they don't really I wouldn't say they don't have that, but a lot of songs are just looped in a lot of ways. And I feel like if you add more things to it to progress the song and to give it more substance and more of a story, that it'll really affect the person. At least for me, like that's what I like to do with my song. So
Mm.
yeah.
So like basically kind of like just telling, I mean, like you said, like telling a story with like the instrumentals basically, whenever
Mhm.
like there's like no voice kind of. I like that.
Right.
There's an artist, well, a producer that kind of does the same kind of thing as well.
Mhm.
I don't know if you heard of him. He's more like I, excuse me, but I don't know if he's like from Japan or Asia, but
Mhm.
his name is Nujabes. He's just a straight producer, and he kind of just blends like different type of elements with sounds as well, and like, and I really enjoy that a lot because like you even though there's not words like being said within the music, there's kind of like stories that are kind of being heard within the sounds of the music, within the instruments, within the drums, the everything really.
Right.
And I think those type of music in general kind of like it depends on like who you are, but it can speak to you more to a certain extent.
Mhm.
um because it kind of like triggers a certain type of like emotion within our
Mhm.
body into a whole different type of mood. and
Exactly.
and like when it comes to like making us like an actual song in general, that does the same kind of thing, but there's a different motion within it when it's just kind of the instruments, having the instruments do its thing, and letting that story to be told within the sounds, that like the sounds, the background sounds within the music.
Right.
um and I
Mhm.
heard that as well with when it came with your song as well. Because I heard that song, I took the time and I heard that song on SoundCloud. Um,
Mhm.
and oh man, I mean, I don't know what else. It's very like a surreal kind of thing to hear, when it comes to music like that. Um, because there's a story that's being told, and it's cool because it's just like it's like a painting. is it like we're painting like a visualization within our own head of what we're hearing basically.
Right.
um
Exactly.
and like and that's a cool thing when it comes to music, because like there's always a different type of perspective with different type of human beings of like how they kind of visualize and how they see it. So and
Right.
that's basically what you did with that song. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm glad you could see that. Like the imagery is what I was really going for. It's like, what are you painting with this song? Like I know when I first made the song, all I could think about was like different colors, um like with the guitar, the plucking of the guitar strings, I could just imagine different colors. And then
Mm.
it went into something like me in a field just like spinning around or something, just like using that imagery is gonna help. And I think that's what helped me actually make the song, was just imagining what could be.
Yeah.
Um it gave me like a dream, like a kind of like a dream vibe. And that kind of plays into like the meaning of the song, Twisted Fantasy. It's like your dream, or a dream that isn't really reality, but it's something that you would want to think, or what, like, something that you're imagining. Twisted Fantasy would have to do with like deception as well too, because um there are times where people will like they'll create their own painting, but then try to make it reality and like try to deceive you and say, well, this is reality, when it's not reality. So it's like you got to be able to differentiate. And that's why I named it Twisted Fantasy, because it's like there's fantasies and there's a fantasy where you're trying to make it a reality, and it's like you can't really do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I try to, yeah. It's a very multi-purposeful song. It has different meanings. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. So we got two more questions left. So question number 9, what do you believe, in your own way of trying to answer it, what do you believe is the best advice or message that you would like to give to the people that are going to be watching, or just anyone in general that wants to like follow their dreams and pursue their goals within whatever they're trying to go for?
I would first say know what you want and stick to it. There's processes to it. There's always trial and error. You're gonna try to decide what you like to do, but once you figure it out, you gotta stick to it and tell yourself that you're gonna stick to it. And you have to build that self-discipline enough to tell yourself, I want to work for this. Because if you don't have that motivation, you're not gonna give your all to it, and then you're not gonna know what you are capable of. You didn't put your all in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely, give it some value, give your dream some value, and then go after it. Don't just, say, oh, I want to try something. You got to actually want it. If especially if you want it to go like long term, you got to know what your goals are with this. And even after the first like glance at it and the first try at it, don't give up, because if you really wanted it, you wouldn't give up on it.
Yeah.
So definitely keep going after it. Don't doubt yourself too hard. All the biggest accomplishments are, uh, or the people that accomplish certain things, they've all had downfalls, and they've all had trial and error periods where they didn't know what to do, but they got there anyway. So I would definitely say just keep going and don't doubt yourself. Know that you are capable and worthy, and just be humble at the same time. So just find balance between knowing that you're capable, but being humble and not, demeaning or looking down on somebody else. In the event that you do become very successful in your dream, don't ever, look down at somebody else, because you were in that position one time as well. You were there in their shoes at some point. So
Yeah.
you just gotta like look at it in the future, past, and present at the same time.
Mm.
It's a lot of balancing, but once you find that balance, you're well on your way to like really get into where you need to be as far as a dream. Because once you tell yourself something, nobody else can tell you anything. Like once you like, once you're really certain on something, like, and you know what you want, that's the most powerful thing you could have. So
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Balance is definitely the key. Um, And honestly, when it comes to like going after whatever type of goal and dreams you're going for, like we don't know where it's gonna like I said, we don't know where it's gonna fully take us. But it's like that's all right. Like,
Right.
like it's not up to us to like kind of know immediately or right away. And I like that you brought up like three of them, like focusing on the presence, the future, and the past.
Mhm.
Because sometimes like people say like focus on the future, or focus on the present moment, but like having the balance to like understanding all three kind of like events, I guess. Understanding that where it's just like, okay, whatever happened behind us in the past is like it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
done now. And the future, like that's like, that's over there, like so
Yeah.
we still got like a good amount of time. So like since we have that time, let's focus on what we have now, the
Mhm.
present. And it's
Right.
just like who knows how long this journey may take. It may take 10 years, it may take 5 years, it may take a year, it may take till tomorrow. Who knows? But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, it's just like trying to wake up every day, be grateful, be thankful,
Mhm.
that we're just even alive in general.
Mhm.
Because being having another opportunity just to live another day of life is another opportunity just to like do the things that we want to do, you
Right.
know, to pursue the goals that we want to pursue, and just to like achieve the things that we want to achieve, no matter
Mhm.
what it is. Like it doesn't have to be anything when it comes to music. It could be just if you want to make a movie, make a movie. You have a phone, like you like 30 years ago, like this shit didn't exist. So it's just
Mhm.
like
Exactly.
now we have that like technology and the resources to like make something crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like use the time that we have, because who knows how much time that we have left. So use that time that we have basically to just not only to use it to your advantage, or use it wisely, but just give it your all within the time that you have, basically.
Right.
And just but also take your time with it, you know. So like it's so like be on time, but don't rush it, basically. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah. So question number 10: if you can say one thing to your younger self, to younger you, like what would that
Mhm.
message be?
Definitely to never change. And that definitely happened. But if I were to go back, if I were to tell myself now, like I would probably talk to my niece because she actually portrays me as a child. Like like I said, she is given everything that I gave growing up. She's probably a little bit more subtle. I'm not gonna lie, because I was a firework. Like I was crazy. But she's like, I would just tell her like, don't change for anybody because
Yeah.
like a lot of times people they look at you as a kid and they don't really take you seriously. I don't know. I don't think that kids, especially certain kids that are very sweet, like they don't get enough respect. Like especially from older people,
Yeah.
'cause we think, oh yeah, you're just a kid, whatever, whatever. But kids are the future. Like if you don't respect kids, I don't know what's gonna when you're in a nursing home, what's gonna happen? Like these kids are gonna take away your benefits. Like so you gotta
Right.
just be careful with who you like. Just be respectful to everybody, no matter what the age, gender, whatever.
Yeah.
Like treat everybody like how you want to be treated. Like I know
Mm.
like when it comes to kids, like they're still in that learning developing stage. So it's like anything you tell them, they're gonna believe it. Like one way or another, they could choose, yeah. But it's like if you tell them enough times, like, hey, you can't do this and you're not gonna be this just because you feel like you couldn't do it when you were younger, it doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
I know like as a kid, I was a chatterbox. Like I talked all the time, but there were certain people I would get around that would be like, oh, just stop talking, just stop. Like, but I was saying really useful things, I was saying like I was spitting facts sometimes. So they would miss out on information. And it's like, come on, like you can't just do that. You gotta be patient. You gotta have more patience with people, yourself and children. I feel like children, they need the most respect. I feel like
Yeah.
they need the nurturing, and it's not a privilege to get nurturing for a kid. Like nurturing is everybody needs that. So it's like, just keep that in mind when you're talking to the younger generation. As crazy as we may think they are right now, it's like we have all the potential to change how they come out. So it's like, you know, if you think that they're doing something harmful,
you got to really think about it. Like, is it really harmful, or you feel like you couldn't do that as a kid, and now you're just like, oh, like, don't do that, like, you know. So I would definitely say to myself, don't change, because a lot of what I've evolved into is a lot of like introvert and like lack of expression, antisocial. You know, you don't want to be that. You know, it's good, you know, as far as like preserving yourself and being able to like preserve your energy, but at the same time, you want to be able to know how to turn it on and off. You know, when you get to the point where you just don't know how to talk, or you know, that all stems from where you came from, or what changed you in the past that made you not, you know, be able to express yourself. So
Yeah.
definitely just, I would just tell myself not to change as far as like my personality and stuff.
Perfect. Honestly, I think that's a perfect way to close it out. No, that's cool. Thank you for taking time out of your day, out of your schedule, just to hop up on this podcast. Like I said, I think you did it, man. I think this is the best one I've had so far, just because it was just very we talked a lot of realism within this podcast, and I like that you were very open and very, it just being, I mean, not saying the other ones were behind me weren't like very open and very honest, but like I guess you were just a little bit more with it. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to beautiful people.
Of course, of course. Um, is there anything else that you would like to deliver out? Is there anything else that you would like to say or promote or anything that, you know, before I close it out?
Just remember everything that I mentioned in this podcast. You have to know what you want. You have to have the self-discipline, and you got to be your own parent. Basically, you got to parent yourself. If you feel like you're lacking when it comes to your inspiration, just reparent yourself. Do what you know, what you have to hear, and listen to your intuition. And yeah, that's about it.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Indeed. Indeed. Now, hope that whoever is going to be watching, take that advice and take that advice to just inspire you just to do whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be music. It could just be anything in general, whatever goal that you're trying to reach for. I hope that you guys can receive it within this podcast, within everything that you hear, and just use it to whatever you're trying to work on. I am gonna put all of her social media. Well, I know you got the gram, and I know you got your music up. Is it like on Spotify or Apple as well, or is it just on SoundCloud?
Yes, it's on all platforms.
Okay.
I still have to find the link that pins it all together, but
Yeah.
my song Twisted Fantasy is out on all platforms. I only have one song out right now. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of drafts to finish. So whenever I do drop, you guys will be hearing it on Instagram.
Perfect. Awesome. So I'll put your social accounts under your side of the video, also like where they can find your music, and Apple and Spotify as well in your side of the video also. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day just to hop up on this podcast once again. And thank you guys just for sticking by. This is Above the Sky, season 4, episode 8. And like and subscribe. And I think that's everything. I usually say more, but like I'm getting really hot right now. So I can't think of anything right now. So yeah, man, spread love, man. Spread love always, and just keep being you, be free, and just keep pushing towards your goals and to make it your reality. But yeah, peace.
Peace.